You probably found out you had a fatty liver, completely by accident. Maybe a routine blood test, maybe a scan, and the doctor casually mentioned, "Oh, you have some fat buildup in your liver," and then moved on like it was nothing? But here's what nobody told you. Fatty liver is not just a liver problem. It is the silent warning signal your body is sending before things get far, far worse. And here's the twist. There is one fruit, eaten the right way, at the right time, that science shows can begin reversing this condition. I'm not selling you miracle cures. I'm going to show you the actual mechanism, backed by research, and then give you a full 4-phase plan to fix it for good. Stay with me. By the 3-minute mark, you will understand your liver better than most people who have had the condition for years. Welcome back to Dr. Keto Lifestyle, where we don't just give you health advice. We give you the science behind the advice, so you actually understand what's happening inside your body. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now. Because every single daily, we break down complex health topics in simple, actionable ways. And trust me, you're going to want to see what's coming next. Alright, let's get into it. Set up, what is fatty liver, and why you should be worried? Here's something that surprises most people. Most people who have fatty liver disease don't feel sick. They feel fine, maybe a little sluggish, maybe a little bloated. Maybe their waist feels bigger even though they aren't gaining obvious weight. But underneath that surface, fat is silently accumulating inside your liver cells. And once it starts, if you don't address the root cause, it doesn't stop at fatty liver. It progresses. First to inflammation, then to scarring, then to something called fibrosis, and in worse cases, cirrhosis. That is irreversible liver damage. So here is the most important thing I want you to understand right now. Fatty liver is absolutely reversible, but only if you attack the right root causes, in the right order. And that's exactly what this video is about. I'm going to give you a 4-phase plan, and inside that plan, I'm going to show you where one specific fruit becomes a powerful weapon. The fruit reveal, why pineapple, why empty stomach. Before we go into the full 4-phase reversal plan, let me tell you about the fruit. Because the timing of when I introduce this actually matters, and you'll understand why in a moment. The fruit is pineapple, and before you click away thinking, "Oh great, another fruit video," stay with me for 60 seconds. Because what makes pineapple special has nothing to do with its sugar content or its vitamins. Pineapple contains an enzyme called bromelain. Bromelain is what's called a proteolytic enzyme, meaning it breaks down protein structures. And here's why that matters for your liver. When you eat pineapple with other food, the bromelain goes to work digesting the proteins in that food, improving digestion, reducing bloating, helping your gut work better. Good, that's useful. But when you eat pineapple on an empty stomach, something very different happens. With no food to digest, the bromelain looks for other protein structures in the body to work on, and what it targets includes inflammatory compounds, scar tissue, arterial plaque, the exact types of protein damage associated with liver stress and inflammation. Bromelain has been shown to downregulate inflammatory pathways including NF-κB and COX-2, the same pathways that drive liver inflammation and progression of fatty liver. And it activates NRF2, your body's master antioxidant switch which actively protects liver cells from oxidative damage. Science fact, bromelain, taken on an empty stomach, acts systemically, targeting inflammation and scar tissue rather than just digesting food. Source: Journal of Ethnopharmacology plus multiple clinical enzyme studies. Phase 1. Stop feeding the problem, the root cause. Here's what nobody tells you about fatty liver. Fat in the liver doesn't come from eating too much fat. It comes from insulin resistance. A review published in Diabetes Spectrum made this crystal clear. Insulin resistance isn't just involved in the development of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It drives its entire progression. From simple fat accumulation gives to inflammation, gives to fibrosis, gives in potentially liver cancer. Here's how it works. When your cells stop responding properly to insulin, glucose stays floating in your bloodstream longer than it should. Your body needs to deal with that glucose. And one of its first choices, ship it to the liver, where it gets converted into fat. At the same time, insulin resistance is blocking lipolysis. That's your body's ability to burn and mobilize stored fat. So fat is coming into the liver faster and leaving more slowly. Do the math. That's why the liver fills up. So phase 1 is not about supplements or superfoods. Phase 1 is about removing the pressure that is pushing fat into your liver in the first place. What does that look like practically? Step 1, drop the refined carbs and added sugars. Cakes, white bread, pastries, sodas, fruit juices, these spike glucose fast, which spikes insulin hard. Lower the sugar load gives lower the insulin demand, gives reduce inflammatory signaling, give insulin a chance to work properly again. Step 2, hydrate properly. Your liver is your body's primary processing and detox center. If you're chronically dehydrated, you're handicapping its ability to export fat through bile and clear metabolic waste. Water doesn't fix fatty liver on its own, but it enables everything else to work. Step 3, add omega-3 South. A meta-analysis in gastroenterology Research looked at 10 randomized trials over 500 people with fatty liver. Omega-3 supplementation significantly reduced liver fat and improved markers of liver inflammation. They activate PPA or alpha, your fat oxidation regulator, and reduce inflammatory signaling simultaneously. 2 wins, 1 happy. Phase 2, activate the fat removal. Once you've lowered the insulin pressure, your body becomes responsive. The brakes come off. Now we can actually start pulling fat out of the liver. This is where the real reversal begins. Protein is critical here. It increases satiety. It stimulates GLP-1 production. It supports lean muscle mass. It raises your metabolic demand, and it improves long-term fat handling. When you're working on reversing fatty liver, getting adequate protein is non-negotiable. Fiber matters more than most people realize. An analysis using Large and Haynes data found an inverse relationship between dietary fiber intake and hepatic steatosis. That's the scientific name for fatty liver. Fiber slows carbohydrate absorption, which stabilizes insulin. Stable insulin means less fat accumulating in the liver. Fiber also binds to fats and cholesterol in the gut and removes them through waste. Fasted cardio, a randomized controlled trial in cell metabolism studied adults with fatty liver, comparing alternate day fasting versus exercise versus combining both. Fasting alone reduced liver fat by 2.25%. Exercise alone helped, but combining fasting and exercise reduced liver fat by over 5%, more than double. The logic: in a fasted state, your body is already in fat-burning mode. Adding movement in that state targets visceral fat, the fat around your organs, including your liver, far more effectively than exercise after eating. Resistance training plus aerobic exercise. A network meta-analysis in Scientific Reports reviewed 43 studies involving over 2,000 people with fatty liver. The conclusion: combining aerobic and resistance training produced the greatest improvements in liver enzymes and metabolic markers. Different types of exercise give different benefits. You want both. Key finding: fasting plus exercise combined reduced liver fat by 5%, plus more than double either method alone. Cell metabolism, randomized controlled trial. Phase 3, the food strategy, liver superfoods. Now that the foundation is in place, we layer in specific foods that accelerate the reversal. These aren't random wellness trends. Every one of these has clinical evidence behind it. Pineapple on an empty stomach. As we established, bromelain, taken without food, acts systemically. It targets inflammatory pathways. It breaks down scar tissue precursors. It activates your antioxidant defense system. Eat a cup of fresh pineapple first thing in the morning, before coffee, before breakfast, and let the bromelain do its work. Extra virgin olive oil. A randomized controlled trial found that a high olive oil monounsaturated fat diet produced an 18 to 25% reduction in liver fat. But here's the nuance. The real reason olive oil works so well is that replacing refined carbohydrates with olive oil lowers the insulin load. Olive oil also activates the NRF2 pathway, the same antioxidant system pineapple triggers, which preserves liver cell structure and reduces oxidative stress. Garlic, 800 mg to 15 weeks, gives 50% plus improvement on ultrasound. Coffee, 23% lower fatty liver risk, 32% lower fibrosis progression risk. Cranberry, activates fat burning via PPA or alpha, improves insulin sensitivity. Pineapple, beetroot juice, lowers oxidative stress, plus liver inflammation via NRF2 signaling. An RCT published in the journal Diabetes, Metabolic Syndrome, and Obesity gave people with fatty liver 800 mg of garlic extract daily for 15 weeks. More than 50% of the garlic group showed measurable improvement on liver ultrasound compared to just 15% in the placebo group. And these results held even after adjusting for calories and weight loss. The active compounds in garlic, allicin, and ajain directly downregulate the inflammatory signals that damage the liver. And coffee, yes, your morning coffee is genuinely helpful. A meta-analysis in the Annals of Hepatology found that regular coffee drinkers had a 23% lower risk of developing fatty liver and a 32% lower risk of progression to fibrosis. Caffeine directly inhibits the fibrotic signaling pathways in the liver. Your morning cup is doing more than waking you up. The stacking principle. A third study in BMJ Open Diabetes compared an olive oil-rich diet to a multifactorial diet combining olive oil, omega-3s, fiber, and polyphenols with matched calories. Both reduced liver fat, but the multifactorial diet produced a 40% reduction versus 19 to 25% from olive oil alone. The message: don't pick one. Stack them. Fiber plus olive oil, plus omega-3, south plus pineapple plus garlic. That's a compounding advantage. Phase 4, keep it from coming back. This is the phase most people skip, and it's why fatty liver often returns. Because here's the truth. Fatty liver doesn't come back because you stopped caring. It comes back because insulin resistance and chronic inflammation slowly crept back into your life. Sleep quality. A study of over 5,000 people found that poor sleep behaviors, late bedtime, irregular schedules, excessive daytime napping, were all associated with significantly higher rates of metabolic dysfunction and fatty liver. But here's the remarkable thing. Even a moderate improvement in sleep quality was linked to a 29% reduction in fatty liver risk. This isn't just about feeling rested. Deep sleep and REM sleep actively regulate insulin sensitivity. One single night of poor sleep can temporarily make you insulin resistant. Imagine what chronic sleep deprivation does over months. Stress and cortisol. A study of almost 170,000 people found that those with the highest perceived stress had a 17% greater risk of developing fatty liver compared to low-stress individuals. Cortisol drives fat storage in your visceral region, which includes the liver. It raises blood glucose, stimulates fat production in the liver, and crushes insulin receptor sensitivity. Chronic stress essentially undoes all the good work from phases 1 through 3. Practical cortisol reducers that actually work. Grounding barefoot on grass has been shown in salivary. 3 grams of glycine before bed calms the nervous system and dramatically improves sleep quality. Sauna, followed by cold shower. 30 seconds, cold after 15 to 20 minutes. Sauna builds nervous system resilience so that everyday stress doesn't hit as hard. Circadian rhythm, and when your lifestyle disrupts that clock. Late meals, inconsistent sleep times, eat within a consistent daily window. These aren't optimization hacks, they're the conditions your liver needs to function at its baseline. The workout strategy, how to target visceral fat directly. I want to share this specific workout protocol I've personally implemented, and it's based on research I learned from studying Dr. Rhonda Patrick's work on visceral fat. Here's what the data shows. Resistance training is excellent for metabolic health, but it barely moves the needle on visceral fat specifically. What actually targets visceral fat, the fat around your organs and inside your liver, is high-intensity interval training. But the real power comes when you combine intervals with steady-state cardio. Interval training combined with continuous cardio more than doubles the impact on visceral fat reduction. The protocol I follow, 3 to 4 days per week. High-intensity intervals. 30 seconds allowed on a rower, assault bike, or treadmill sprint. 30 to 60 seconds rest. 5 to 7 rounds. That's it. Under 10 minutes of actual work. This is the visceral fat signal. It triggers hormonal fat breakdown that continues for hours afterward through something called excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. 2 to 3 days per week. Zone 2 steady-state cardio. 25 to 30 minutes of moderate pace. You can hold a conversation, but it's slightly uncomfortable. This trains your body to become efficient at fat oxidation, so that when you do the intervals, your body is already primed to continue burning fat long after the workout ends. Do these on separate days, not combined. The interval days and the zone 2 days serve different metabolic purposes. I lift weights on my remaining days, and, the result? My waist circumference, one of the most accurate measurements of visceral and liver fat, has shrunk measurably. Even starting from already being lean, because even lean people can carry dangerous visceral fat, and now, I don't. Protocol, 30 sec on, 30 to 60 sec off, times 5 to 7 rounds, 3 to 4x, week intervals, plus 2 to 3x week zone to cardio. Based on Dr. Rhonda Patrick's visceral fat research, more effective than resistance training alone for liver fat. Alright, let's bring this all together, because I want you to walk away from this video with a clear picture, not just a list of tips. Phase 1, stop feeding the problem. Lower your refined carbs and added sugars. Reduce the insulin load. Add omega-3s. Hydrate properly. Stop pushing fat into the liver. Phase 2, activate the fat removal. Fasted, cardio. Adequate protein, fiber, intermittent fasting windows. Resistance training combined with aerobic work create the conditions where your body pulls fat out. Phase 3, stack your liver superfices. Pineapple on an empty stomach every morning. Garlic, coffee, cranberry, extra virgin olive oil, whey protein, beetroot juice. These aren't random. Every single one targets a different mechanism. Stack them and you compound the results. Phase 4, protect what you've fixed. Prioritize sleep. Manage cortisol with grounding, glycine, sauna. Align your circadian rhythm. Keep your eating window consistent. Without Phase 4, everything else slowly unravels. And your workout strategy, short. High-intensity intervals, a few days a week, combined with zone 2, cardio will directly target the visceral fat that surrounds your liver from the outside. This is reversible. You have a clear roadmap. The question now is, are you going to use it? If this video helped you, do me one favor, leave a comment below and tell me, which phase do you think is your biggest weakness right now? Phase 1, 2, 3, or 4? I read every single comment and I create future videos based on what you tell me you need. Before you go, if you're serious about reversing insulin resistance for good, I made a dedicated video on exactly what I would do differently if I were insulin resistant today. based on everything I know now that I didn't know 15 years ago when I was dealing with it myself. That video is right there. I highly recommend watching it. Next, then, if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button right now. Every week, I put out content like this, science-backed, practical, no fluff. You're not going to want to miss what's coming. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of that liver. It's doing more for you than you know.